Michael, when you think about the process of setting strategy for an organization this large and this global, how do you go about doing that? What's involved?
In our case, the senior leadership team, which is about 12 people, are essentially the key decision-making group for the company and are quite involved in setting the strategy for the whole company. Now, in each individual business, of course, you got a business leader who kind of owns the strategy, but the overall portfolio strategy, certainly I as the CEO own it, but I'm involving this very capable team of leaders, many of whom were CEOs themselves, in doing this. I think we'll get a much better answer that way. I think we'll get a more bought-in answer as opposed to trying to keep it, confined to 2 or 3 people just at the very center of the company. That's kind of the way we're doing it. But we believe that the line leaders, have to own the strategy themselves to be able to execute it.
How do you flow the information from the markets back to the line and up to the top of the organization so that you feel like you've got strategy that represents where the markets are headed?
Well, we have a pretty regular cadence of operations reviews and certainly regular metrics that tell us how the businesses are doing, spend time in each of the businesses. And then if a business has either a lot of challenge or a lot of opportunity, we tend to spend more time on those businesses. So if it's new or if it's, let's say, in a bit of disrepair, we'll provide some extra attention to it. If it's just kind of trucking along nicely and has a great strategy and things are under control, well, there's not a lot for us to do.
Can you share an example of an area where, because of the strategy process, you've decided to explore new territory or expand the business? I read that you were expanding into business consulting, enterprise consulting.
Yeah, services is a great example. I mean, we have a fast-growing services business. 4 or 5 years ago, it was under $2 billion. Now it's a $6 billion business on a run rate basis, expanding rapidly, particularly in managed services and infrastructure services for our clients as we kind of move from products to services. And so let's say you're a company, you got 150,000 employees. We'll take over the management of the whole client environment, the desktops, the notebooks, the printers, the software, the moving them around, the help desk, the whole thing. So that's a big growth area of our business, and also helping customers deploy and install and migrate to new enterprise solutions. So if you're doing a big email installation or a big server virtualization project or a big database cluster, there's a lot of services around those products that we're quite involved in.
Now, was that the process of looking at competition and looking at what the market needed? Could you walk us through maybe the time when you came to the epiphany that you wanted to go this direction or expand in this business enterprise?
We found a couple things. First of all, we found, it's kind of the 110, 100 thing with large customers, where you had one large customer saying, hey, will you do these 3 additional things for us? And we would say, well, we don't know how to do this 3rd one, but these other 2, we'll be happy to do those for you. And then 10 more customers kind of want the same thing, and then all of a sudden it becomes like a standard thing. So it's very, very driven by what we hear our customers asking us for. Not all customers will ask for what they want, so you got to understand that as well. Some customers are much more forward about that. Others, we sort of bring them a set of capabilities and they go, oh, I know you had that. Oh, that sounds great. The other thing we've done is we've taken our supply chain knowledge and our sort of Six Sigma quality process into the whole services world and said, how do we take cost out of the deployment and installation and usage and life cycle of owning and using a PC or a server inside a big company. Mm-hmm. And that's a very, very different approach to services than is traditional in our industry, because we're really taking out cost instead of adding it, and we're doing things remotely and in the factory. Yeah, we can have lots of folks in the field too, but there are new ways of doing this that can fundamentally alter the process. So we'll go into a company, we'll look at, here's the map of what they're doing today. Here are the best practices that we know of to do this process, and which of those best practices would they like to select, which actually kind of lowers the total effective cost for them of, using these solutions inside their operation.